Kamusta na mga kabalikbayan? We're gonna talk about purchasing a multicab and why we believe you should not get one. This is our experience. Some might have differences of opinion, but we're just gonna talk about our experience with the multicab. So even before traveling to the Philippines, planning out our farm, we're already researching on getting multicab. We watched other YouTube channels roam around multicab dealers showing prices of multicab, so we had general idea on how much it costs and we were willing to pay that price to get a good running vehicle that a dealer has already looked over and make sure that's in good condition. So after telling all our friends that, the ones especially here in the Philippines, they really disagreed and tried to sway us away from buying multicab. We didn't listen, so we ended up heading over to Ormoc. So we traveled about an hour to Ormoc and saw rows of dealers selling different types of multicab, utility multicab, the van type. I was actually looking for the jeepney type of multicab, the ones that I wanted. The ones that was available, we ended up getting a van type. So we ended up buying it from a dealer named Fox Motorsport. So these are the units available at Fox Motorsports. We were initially attracted to the jeepney type, which brought us into the dealership. We wanted to take a look at the jeepney so that we could carry farm equipment in the back and at the same time multiple passengers. These two, the blue one and the green one that you see here, was a little too loud for our taste, so we opted for a different unit. The unit that you'll see at the end here, the blue one, is the one that we ended up getting and negotiating for. Fox Motorsports had a pretty good selection compared to the other dealership along the Ormoc section, and this blue one is the one that we had. Hope you guys enjoyed the units that we had for Fox Motorsports. They were a pretty good dealer. There seems to be no pressure salesperson and slash manager. We met Kuya Roberto there. He showed us all of the multicab that he had in there, about 7 to 10 different vehicles, told us all the prices. He was openly letting us know and gave us discount for every single one of them. So we test drove it, so I drove it in around the parking lot only, making sure that it ran. It seemed to run fine. I figured they just newly put these things together, so they probably checked everything out, so I'm good with that. I trusted the dealers to put out a good product. So after testing it, and we haggled a little bit on the price, the price that we ended up with, I think the original asking price was 245,000 pesos. We haggled down to 240. Kuya Roberto was a tough negotiator. We were asking for 230 and said no. So he was happy to close out the deal. So we signed a couple paperwork.
Insurance, ang deed sale. Huwag mo na ipanotaryo ha, kami na lang. Ibigyan muna kita ng walang notaryo. After 1 month, may notaryo, bibigay mo na sa'yo. Tapos PR. Tapos acknowledge receipt. Tapos warrant.
And yeah, that was it. Off we went. This is it.
Ganda ng upuan. Ito bagong design namin sa upuan. Ito lang po. First time ko dito.
First time.
Kasi yung ano namin, pangkaraniwan, ano lang yun eh, normal lang yun eh. Ito, itim lang. Ito, pinaganda nila ng kaunti.
Let's go!
Tapos ito sir pala, sa panel gauge. Yan, may gasolina ka pa, 1/4. No? Yan, pangsin yan. Yan, odometer mo. 129. Ito yung takbo mo sakali. Function yan, sir. Ito yung temperature mo. Dapat ang temperature mo kalahati lang. Pag pumunta yan sa Fahrenheit, overheat. Handbrake lang yan ang ilaw. Pag nilagis mo yan, wala ang ilaw yan. Okay, sir. Thank you ulit. Let's roll!
So it was late at night when we got back. So the first sign of trouble came with when we were going at high speed and the transmission was whining. Like, "Woo." It sounded like if you had a manual transmission, when the synchronizer is going out, that's when you kind of hear it. But this one is an automatic transmission, so I was not sure if they have synchronizers, but it sounded like that at the high speed. So I figured it was just low on fluid. We'll check it, and kept on going. We got home late at night. The person that drove us to the dealer noticed that the brake lights coming on, so we tested it and the brake lights did not work. So no big deal, maybe a fuse, I'll check it some other time. But the more I closely look at the multicab, there's little things here and there that didn't work. Like the dome light didn't work, the horn didn't work, the wiper fluid spraying mechanism didn't work, and the automatic door locks on the right side of the sliding door didn't work. We had to manually lift it up to be able to open the door on that side. So those were little issues, really something that we could probably deal with knowing that it was put together and they had a warranty, a 1-month warranty to kind of fix it all up. So, but the ones that really took us for a scare was when we lost 50% of the braking. The brake actually stiffened up. I couldn't stop without pulling up the handbrake, the e-brake, the emergency brake. So luckily when this happened, we were going at a slow speed, so it wasn't like I needed to make like a quick action. But while I was parking the car, the brake stiffened up and I was applying pressure on the brakes and I was still going faster than it should be. So I pumped the brakes, didn't work. Luckily I was able to lift up the e-brake and that worked, and we stopped at the parking spot. We called Fox Motorsports right away and we got a hold of Juan Roberto. Roberto was very understanding, trying to walk us through what we did, what could have happened, but also we wanted to go back and return the vehicle from that point forward. We didn't feel safe anymore, so but he offered to take a look at it and see if there's something that he could do. Wanted to check on how it was before driving it back because we were really scared. When we got it started, everything seemed to be fine. The brakes were no longer stiff. And we had about another 2 hours drive back to the dealer. We wanted to just take it back to the dealer and see what they were willing to do for us. Because we didn't want to drive it any longer. If we did give it back to them as soon as possible. So we drove back 2 hours to Ormo. Roberto greeted us there. We drove with him while he was in the car, test drove the vehicle actually at high speed. He, tested the transmission. We were going about even at very high speed with 90, no problem. The brakes was working. And I tried to explain to him some of the symptoms that I had while I had the car. But he gave us an option. What did you want to do? He could fix what he knows right now that is wrong. He did find the horn didn't work, the brake lights didn't work, all the little stuff. But the two major things was really made us want to return it. It was the two major areas of problem was the brakes and the transmission, which didn't show up during the test drive. But we know what we experienced, and we don't want to have that happen again. You know. So we went back to his office. He said he'll talk to his manager. What we wanted to do was really return it, and we understand that us using it for a couple of days, we would pay for the amount, or there's the amount of us using it. So he called his manager. His manager told him to call his boss, and then he talked to his manager's boss. We explained to them. He was very fair. He didn't say anything that was untrue. He told them that when he tested it, nothing showed up, but we still wanted to see if we could get our money back. This boss offered us initially 20,000 pesos for I guess a penalty fee for returning it or using it for 2 days. We thought it was a little steep for using it for 2 days and not feeling like we had a safe vehicle. So we agreed on 18,000 pesos. It was still pretty high, but it wasn't something that we were going to take a risk on keeping the vehicle when we know we couldn't use it or drive it and feeling safe. So we returned the vehicle, took the loss. We have no vehicle again. So that is our learning experience. I hope anyone that is watching this take our advice, learn from us, as we did not listen to our friends or families not to buy a multicab. And if you do buy a multicab, have a set expectation that these are some of the things that you can deal with or you have to deal with. If braking is not a big issue for you, or if a transmission whining is not a big issue for you, then multicab is fine. For me, I will opt out of dealing with a multicab now that I have seen a multicab in action personally. I don't even want to be in it. I have seen them, they're cool, different variations of them, the utility, the van, they're really cool, but having them, I would not recommend on getting one for yourself. Yeah, it could be a hit or miss. We might just have gotten bad experience, might not be familiar with how multicab really is, and we had a set expectations for a multicab, and it definitely did not meet that expectation. So if you are a first time multicab shopper and never been in one or never drove one personally, I would stay away from them. If you are interested in getting a multicab, I recommend you test driving it for a day or two so you get the full experience of what a multicab really is and what it's capable of. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned on future videos, and hopefully we'll get a different type of transportation, or maybe a safer one, or a way for us to get around to and from the farm. If you haven't already done so, guys, we're starting this channel hoping to show you our experience in living a life here in the Philippines after 20 years or plus years in the US. So if you haven't already done so, please subscribe, like it if you like this video, or comment on any other videos that you'd like to see. So bye-bye now.
Change it. Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
One more time.
Bye-bye now.
One more time.
Bye-bye now.
Not too good, not too. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye now. Woo, woo.